Next up, we've got Bright Context with John Fung and Leo Scott. I don't understand all these things.
Okay. Thank you, TechCrunch. Hello, my name is John Funge. I'm CEO and co-founder of Bright Context. With me on stage is our CTO and co-founder, Leo Scott. So we're delighted to be here today to launch the Bright Context platform. So Twilio is to telephony as the Bright Context platform is to real-time data stream processing. That is, we provide a cloud-based platform for software developers that makes it easy to do two key things: to take large streams of data that are in flight, real-time, and to process them. And then two, to incorporate real-time data push and broadcast into your apps through an API, easy API model. So as with any platform, it's most easy to see what it can do with an example, and we have one for you. So let me set the scene. You're watching, you're on your sofa and you're watching a debate. It's the election season right now, and Wolf Blitzer comes on air and encourages you to try a new app called the Election Meter. You enter some basic information about yourself, and then the Election Meter lets you do something simple but powerful. What you do is you simply agree or disagree with what you're seeing at any given moment. Talking about healthcare, you might agree or disagree. Talking about taxes, you might agree or disagree. The thing is, it's not a single poll. It's continuous throughout the whole event. And so what happens is as you move your slider, sort of signaling your level of agreement, that piece of data goes into our platform along with the data from potentially hundreds of thousands of other viewers at the same time. Our platform then takes it, tabulates the results, and broadcasts it back out to light up the states in the map very, very quickly. The result is a whole new dimension to television, giving you an unprecedented insight into the sentiment of the audience in real time. So social TV is a huge opportunity. We all know that. But we're barely scratching the surface of some of the potential that's out there. And one of the reasons is pretty straightforward. TV audiences can be gargantuan. Let's put this into perspective, okay? This is University of Michigan football stadium. It seats about 100,000 people. It's the largest in the country. A debate can draw about 60 stadiums of people watching at the same time. It's for this reason that TV for the last 80 years has been a one-way broadcast medium. With social television, what we're saying is, no, let's talk back, and let's talk to each other. That's a big data problem, but not just any kind of big data problem. That's a real-time big data problem, where you have to take that deluge of data, you have to process it, and then you have to transmit it back out to the audience very, very quickly. This problem right here, this is a hard problem. This is the problem the Bright Context platform solves, and we gift wrap it for developers. Let me show you how. So we're switching over right now to the Bright Context web-based dashboard. Inside of Bright Context, as a developer now, I have my developer hat on, you have projects. You organize your work into projects, and inside of a project, you can have resources. There's two types. There's a thing called a through channel, which is for broadcasting data without processing it, and then there's a quant channel for broadcasting and communicating data in real time, but you can do filtering and calculations on it as the data flows through the system. For the election meter, we use a quant channel because we're taking averages of the data as it flows through. So a quant channel, if you think about it, has inputs, it has processing, and it has outputs. So what you, for the election meter, would do is you would set up an input that would have the value coming from the slider, vote value, and then you pass in the demographic information, age, gender, state, and so on. Then you set up the processing, and we use our average function, and we apply that average to the vote value field. Okay? And then that tells our system to continuously take an average of the data as it's coming in. Next, you create an output, and you pass that average out in a stream that powers the map. And so you pass out the average vote value and that demographic information. That's your quant channel. Next, what you do is you link the quant channel to your app through our SDK and a few lines of code. In doing this, you've offloaded a huge amount of complexity to us in terms of scaling and back-end, and you've freed yourself up to create amazing front-end experiences in the tools of your choice. So this example we've shown you here is a social television example. Our platform, of course, is applicable in a lot of other ways, a lot of other use cases. Real-time business metrics, gaming, mobile applications. It's because we believe we only see a relatively small percentage of the possible uses that we're engaging developers directly through a self-service a self-service model. We believe our platform will be adopted more broadly, more quickly, and more creatively through partnering with innovative developers. So how are we disrupting the status quo? In 3 key ways. 1, we provide both data stream processing as well as data broadcast and push in one package. We believe you need both to have a complete solution. 2, we enable you to store results as well as do processing in real time. Creating a real-time history isn't easy at the scales we're talking about it. Leo has the scars to prove it. And 3, through our easy-to-use API, our web-based dashboard, and our cloud-based pricing model, we're dramatically lowering the barrier to entry to very sophisticated back-end technology that to date has been the purview of places like Twitter, the CIA, and Wall Street. Real-time is a major trend already. In the next chapter of the internet, it will be a defining trend. We're here to power that, and more importantly, we're here to empower you to disrupt and innovate around real-time. So as I close, I ask you to do one thing. I ask you, if you're technical, to please go to our website and to sign up for free, and I challenge you to build the next great app on our platform. If you're not technical, I ask you to use whatever managerial authority you have to get the technical people you know to do what I just asked. We are Bright Context. We're powering real time. Thank you very much.
Questions? Judges.
If I could jump in, am I understanding that I'm on an iPad, I'm watching the election, I'm maneuvering around, right? So,
right.
But what is that telling? We have something, House, when it was at its most popular, we had 90 million people watching, which is be great to get some kind of feedback other than through the social feeds of Twitter and Facebook and so forth. However, when we show and test screen a pilot, we have something similar to this in the sense that people sit in a room, watch it, they have a dial, whether they like something, they don't like something, they can turn off the TV. That component we found didn't give you enough information. They see the bad guy come up on screen, they don't like him, but you don't know why they don't like him. Then when you put people in the focus group to follow, they're like, I didn't like him because he's the bad guy, and I liked the good guy, and I didn't like the bad guy was mean to the good guy.
Right.
And so, but I've seen actors lose jobs because they just go, okay, well, they didn't like that guy. They can't put it in context. So what beyond just kind of agreeing or disagreeing with what you're watching? Because I think it's a fascinating and great thing if we could get in terms of narrative television, getting that kind of feedback, but not just like they like it, they don't like it, kind of binary like that. I'd need a richer experience. What would give back?
So, of course, this is an example, but the key thing is that TV audiences, much like traveling during Thanksgiving, can consolidate huge amount of traffic on servers at one time. It's a hard technical problem. And so what our platform is kind of liberating producers and networks to create really interesting experience of play prediction around sports where people play by play are predicting what's going to happen next. Or you can have different kind of graphic treatments where characters are getting bigger or smaller. You can introduce game dynamics where the audience are actually playing with each other in some sort of fashion. The point is when you peel open the kind of technical complexity, the idea is when you get with the creative people around television, the ideas flow. But at the center of every one of these ideas is this hard problem. If I've got 6 million people viewing at one time, and I get even 5 or 10% of that audience all participating, that's hundreds of thousands of concurrent viewers. And it's a kind of traffic that you can't cache off to Akamai or some CDN. I mean, it is real-time traffic. It's a really hard technical problem. But what we've done is we've deliberately wrapped the product in a way where through our easy-to-use APIs, it liberates the creative developers in tools of their choice, whether it's iOS or JavaScript and the web, to kind of create whatever kind of experiences and game dynamics and interesting things that might tie into the narrative of the show.
So you're saying that just beyond that, are you guys already equipped to be able to have character pictures and to have things kind of coming up that's in sync with what's happening in terms of what's on the TV? So let's take a debate out of the picture because debate is every once in a while, and I mean, like, if you're watching your weekly show in terms of that feedback, are you already equipped to just beyond like it, don't like it? Can you already integrate a more complex, richer user experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can pretty much define whatever you want the app to be, and when the user action, what we allow is the data to flow in, to get sort of tabulated and synthesized, and broadcast back out in whatever format you want. And that the format and the presentation is totally up to the app developer. And we sort of provide the hard kind of plumbing infrastructure.
Sorry, I'm hogging the ball here, so you guys can.
No, it's all right. I'm just trying to understand what is the Amazon and cloud computing has allowed us to scale a lot of these problems.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to understand, is this more of an ease of use for developers for this particular concurrent connection problem? Or is it just that you've solved the concurrency scalability problem? I'm trying to understand, what's the big value proposition here to developers?
Right. So the value proposition, if you peel it open, is there are platforms out there. I could DIY a solution for myself, but if you actually sort of look at the depreciated cost of that solution and maintenance and so on, and you compare it to what we're going to be charging people, we still have a good. Our sort of product is still a good deal for people. If you have really spiky traffic like television, or the potential for big spikes, or if you just don't have time, you need to get it done real fast, the value proposition gets really, really compelling. So we think we have a really strong value proposition either way. In terms of sort of vis-a-vis something like Amazon, it's much more packaged. I mean, Amazon is, you're in there, you're provisioning instances, you're down at the Unix level. We're a kind of web-based dashboard for somebody that knows JavaScript, CSS, HTML. You now have access to the same technology that's happening in the bowels of Twitter and Goldman Sachs.
With minimal developer, kind of back-end development work, you can focus only on the front-end development work. The back-end is kind of taken care of for you.
But for unsophisticated developers, you're great.
Well, not unsophisticated. It's sort of on front end, it's quite complicated.
Yeah.
You don't want to deal with the back end.
Yeah.
Kevin's sorry, I didn't want to.
Oh, yeah. I used to work at NBC, and I used to have to maintain servers. Like, we'd have Jurassic Park, and then we'd have a contest, and then everything would go down and go haywire. So I understand this problem intimately. What I think is really neat is, I don't know if people have seen Penn and Teller Tell a Lie. It's the first time I've seen a TV show that has an interactive component where you try to figure out which story they're telling on the TV show is actually true or false.
Right.
And then you're basically part of the TV show. And after I saw that, I thought, this is the future of television. I think, we need to be able to interact, but I also think, pulling out my iPad and pulling out my phone and all this stuff during television shows just really was not ideal. So how do you make it more interesting, or what apps have you seen that people have developed that are interesting that draw people in?
In the social TV space, it's interesting. It varies a lot by genre. Okay, so there's so drama, for instance, and things that are very intense have a very different experience than sports. Sports, for quite a while through fantasy, has actually already had kind of second screen experiences that have been broadly adopted and like intensely used. What we see is that, at least within the social television space, television basically over the next 5-10 years is going to become a multi-screen experience. And writers and Hollywood producers are going to be thinking in terms of how to harness all of the screens to maximize the experience and to tell the story. And there really are not very good tools today, besides a Twitter integration or something, in order to be able to handle the kind of loads and to kind of give people the degree of creativity that we think is needed.
Fortunately, we're out of time. Thank you guys. Bright context.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good job.